Hello, I'm Shalonda Reese, and I would like to bring you a message of encouragement. The story of Joseph in the book of Genesis is a story that teaches many lessons for followers of Christ. It teaches lessons to anybody, but particularly for followers of Christ. For many of us, we know who Joseph was. He was one of Jacob's 12 sons. And what stands out about Joseph is that he was Jacob's favorite son. And Jacob gave him a coat of many colors. And his brothers, out of jealousy, sold him into slavery. And we know that when Joseph was in Potiphar's house, Potiphar's wife, demanded several times for Joseph to lie with her, sleep with her. And Joseph refused out of loyalty and faithfulness to not just Potiphar, but also to God. And, the Bible records that on the last time that she asked, well, not asked, because she demanded, he fled from her. And because he fled, I'm assuming he went really quickly because his garment was torn and she had it in her hand. It was left in her hand. And so she used that as evidence to lie on him, to concoct the story that he tried to sexually attack her. And we know that's a lie. He was thrown into prison unjustly. But what stands out about Joseph is that he didn't lose his faith in God. Many years in slavery and in prison. Now imagine how one must feel to deal with those type of trials, to deal with those type of life challenges, and being sold into slavery unjustly, not by strangers or by your enemy, but by your own flesh and blood. And it can easily, make you wonder, how in the world was Joseph able to forgive that level of treachery? That was treachery at its highest level, just about treachery. But with God's help, Joseph was able to forgive his brothers. And he did not exact revenge on them. Now, many people would say, well, he had a right to get revenge on his brothers. And I'm pretty sure that if Joseph wanted to get revenge on his brothers, Pharaoh would have allowed him to, being that Joseph was elevated to the second highest position in Egypt, right up under Pharaoh. So I'm pretty sure if Joseph wanted to get revenge, Pharaoh would have allowed it. But that would not have been God's perfect will. The one thing I want to focus on in this message is Joseph's spirit of excellence. Joseph operated out of a spirit of excellence. Even during slavery, even when he was in prison, he still operated out of a spirit of excellence. And it's easy sometimes to slack off from the job, even at home. But having a spirit of excellence is having a spirit that that's having a spirit that's focused on doing what's right, that's focused on putting forth your best effort. Okay? Having a spirit of excellence is indicative of your character. People who have a spirit of excellence are people who are trusted. People who have a spirit of excellence are people who other people look at as leaders. Now, it doesn't mean that you perform at the level of excellence that society deems as excellence, because your excellence may be society's level of mediocre. The rating scale is very subjective. What one person may consider excellent, you may consider just good. Or what another person consider average, you may consider excellence. So it is subjective. But what's not subjective is operating out of a spirit of excellence personally. So your level of excellence is your best. And that cannot be subjective because it's your personal best. So, therefore, even if your personal best is not on the level of society's standard of excellence, it is still considered excellent because you performed out of the spirit of excellence. And that's what we as saints of God should do. In all that we do, in all that we put our hands towards, we should do it out of a spirit of excellence, because we're representing the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're representing Jesus Christ. And for many people, the only example of a Christian is the people who are around them at their job, in their homes. So if you're the only example of how to live right or how to live holy, then you should always operate out of a spirit of excellence, because many times your biggest testimony is not in what you say, but in what you do. How would it look if all of the Christians were on the job slacking off, half doing their work, coming in late? It wouldn't look very good on Christians or people who follow Christ, would it? No, it wouldn't look very good. So we have to remember that our identity is in Jesus Christ. That's our first identity, because from one, if we had a conversion, a heart conversion, and if our faith is in Jesus Christ, then of course we were born again. Right? We were born again. So our first identity is who we are in Jesus Christ. And therefore, we should always go out into the world, whatever we have to do, and make sure that we are representing our God in a way that's pleasing to him. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. I mean, we're human beings and we are flawed. We're very flawed. We're imperfect. Nobody's perfect. No matter how saved they are, you can be the most saved person in the world and you will still sin at some time. So there's no such thing as a perfect person. The greatest people in the Bible who God used were imperfect. Very imperfect. We know who they are. Abraham is known as the father of faith, and yet he lied and said that Sarah was his sister and Sarah's his wife. Well, Sarah was really his half sister, but he left out the part that Sarah was his wife. Let's see, who else? King David. I mean, he was a man after God's own heart, and look what he did. He killed the man and committed adultery. I mean, does it get any worse than that? So God uses flawed people. Great people are flawed people. Everybody's flawed. So our job and our responsibility is to represent Christ. And to represent Christ is to operate out of a spirit of excellence in all that we do. Because for many people, unbelievers, their only example of a Christian, of a faithful Christian, is you. So we have a big responsibility. We do. But if God called us to be his servant, then that means we can handle it, because God would not call us to do anything that we are not able to do. If he calls you, God will equip you for the role, for the job. And it's a wonderful calling to have on your life, to be a follower of Christ and to know that we are representing the Savior of the whole world. So I hope this message blesses you, and that you will take on a mindset of always going out into the world with a spirit of excellence in all that you do. May God bless and keep you. I'm Shalonda Reese.